Hello again, this is Will Whitfield with W3 Productions, and I wanted to go through the Larson Diffeomorphic Daz to Blender importer. I made a previous video about it, and I wanted to go more in depth with it from what I know, and I don't know everything about it yet. But my last video, I feel like I was real excited about the possibilities that it presented, and probably could have did a bit better video. And I'm probably going to be a little excited here too, and still not know everything about it, but just bear with me, and I think we can have fun together. Mostly I'm going to assume that you already have the plugins added to Blender and DAZ Studio already, so I'm not going to go over that again. So I'm going to start from here. If you have this tab in your toolbar, this is where we're going to start. So first things first, I'm going to turn on screencast keys and also delete the default cube, and I'm going to move these to another layer. First we're going to import our character. So these are DAZ files with their accompanying thumbnail pictures, which we can select either file, and also through the plugin in DAZ Studio we have a JSON file that was exported that's in the same directory and is named the same thing as our DAZ file. And this plugin is going to search for that JSON file, and if you don't, it's going to error out. Under the import DAZ file settings, we can change the scale of our character. The mesh fitting, I always use it on JSON file, and since I mostly use cycles, I'm going to use the principal shader because it makes things a lot easier for materials. Hit import DAZ file. This will take a few moments, so that is perfectly normal. And here we have our DAZ Studio created character in Blender 3D. And I'm going to just kind of go through the menus here on the left and go through as much as I know about them right at the current moment. So the first one is the corrections menu. And the main thing is the merge rigs button. Also merge toes, I guess if you didn't want to have individual motion in the toes and it's basically needed them all to go the same direction for every animation, you can merge them here. You also have some face bone options as well, but I'm just going to focus on the merge rigs because if you notice when you import your character, there are multiple components. Basically every part, the clothing, items, and the hair. And if you were to click on one, select one, and to move it, it moves on its own and has its own armature. So right now, if you click on the armature of the main character and went to pose mode, you moved a bone, it will move just that bone and not any of the clothing items. Not sure why this is the default, but this is what it is. And the way to fix that is to merge them into one armature. So for example, I'm going to select the Newport shirt and then select the main character and click on merge rigs. So now when I move for the character, it also moves the shirt. Going to do the same thing with the pants. Merge. Now when I move the legs, pants move too. Let's do the shoes right quick. So moving the leg and the feet along with it, the shoes move too. attempt. I haven't done this before, so I'm going to attempt to merge multiple into one. Let's see what happens. So I move the head, and the hair also moves along with it. So you can do multiple things. You can probably select all of these and go back up to the top and hit merge, and it will work just the same. Moving on to the materials tab. What this will do, new color. If we select an item such as a shirt, it will just, whatever color we select for it in the viewport, not the final product, we can change the color of it. So I chose a green for the shirt. Maybe I want it to be a different color for identification. And you can change the skin color as well. The merge materials is very handy. So if you go to, I guess the best thing to do, go to materials tab, and let's open a preview. I need to use GPU power. It's going to be the same exact material. It'll change very different because you have to go to each one and make changes, but they are one, and makes it a lot more efficient. So I hit merge materials, 3 of them merge into one, and I think this buttons material is actually different in some way, so it comes to the other 3. Skin, you have the looks like the limbs for some. Let's see. Let's try to find something else. Torso, of course, is going to change here in a moment. Just a very same layout, same layout now in DAZ Studio. We don't need them separate, so here hit merge materials. Attention to this bar here because this small bar indicates a large number of items. When we hit merge materials, it became a lot bigger because we have fewer materials now. I don't know the exact count off the top of my head. I count them, but now a lot of the light materials come from one. You can load and export and import UV setups and change subsurface modifiers and things like that. I haven't really messed with the bump strength. I think this is more for Blender internal, so I haven't had a chance to mess with that a whole lot lately. So let's go on to the morph section. Haven't really messed with the update morph paths a whole lot. Let's try the import morphs. Oops, no, that's not what I'm thinking about. I actually haven't messed with this either. So you can import custom morphs if you exported them from DAZ Studio through this button right here. Actually, I am expecting. Here we go. Actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, you do hit that update morph paths. This is what I wanted to get to. So this is very awesome. Let's go ahead and get out of edit mode, object mode. And here we can load the face units. And for each thing you can load, you can show ahead of time what it contains. So this is for changing the shape of the face in a sort of way, eyebrows, the cheek locations, mouth, actually some of the expressions as well. I usually don't use this one more so than the expressions and the visemes. The viseme, of course, for speech, and expressions is for different facial expressions. So show what these include. I'm guessing you might need a combination of that and the face units because that includes smiling and opening the mouth just in general. So each one you want to use, you can check and uncheck if you don't want to use them all. And then hit load face units. And what that's going to do after it finishes is add a new menu at the bottom of this toolbar. And it's going to be driver driven. Haha. You have sliders at the bottom from 0 to 1, I believe. I think also negative numbers. And when it finishes loading, you can go down to the bottom and you see face units. Scroll down some more. And these are all the things that we can change about the face. Eyelids moving up. Pretty much what you have in DAZ Studio here. Lips come apart. And each part at the top will become its own menu at the bottom. So if we close this, load expressions. Expressions will load at the bottom. And that's the creepiest happy person I've seen. These can be keyframed. This is creepy, happy, and a creepy glare as well. And of course you can mix and match them. But anyway, that is the gist of the morph section. In finishing, you can export a lot of like the UV layers. Well, actually you can't export them here. But what you can do is save the textures if you made any modifications and import them later. You can start setting it up for IK rigging, or change the pose and set that as your new rest pose. You can also change the entire rig to the Make Human MHX rig or Rigify, depending on your preference. Let's see, if I'm going to try to do Rigify, hopefully things don't explode. And here we have our Rigify rig set up. And we have our IK based, which the hands are, IK based rig. The feet as well, and then of course stretchiness is enabled. If you wanted to get rid of that, that's just a Rigify feature, not a DAZ importer feature, but IK stretch, put that to 0. Move it again and it doesn't stretch beyond what it should. Alright, moving on. Go to advanced setup. You can set up low poly versions of your character. Also, which I haven't really messed with that too much. Maybe if you're doing game development, you want to use that. Here in rigging, under the advanced setup, you can change, probably before you do Rectify or something like that, you can change the rig from the current rig, which this is a Genesis 2 character. So if I wanted to change it to a Genesis 3 female for some reason, I could do that through this menu. Or Genesis 8 male. Haven't tested that out a whole lot to see if it has a lot of problems or not yet. So kind of use that at your own caution. But you could feasibly change it back to your original one as well. Here you can choose new rest pose if you wanted to, and copy poses and bones. Also add a mannequin if you need to use that for mapping out your animations as well. Some more advanced options I haven't really gotten into. Under morphs, you can remove all morph drivers and the minimum and maximum values for those morphs. So sometimes you want to go beyond 1 or -1, I guess, or set, maybe you just want to set the minimum to 0. Hair, you can add particle based hair. I haven't had a lot of success with this. It assumes you want to add it to the skull group at the top or all around the body or something like that. I think you have to model your hair. So you can also model a hair. Say you made a plane or something like that, and you wanted that to be your hair. I'm not gonna try it now, but because it failed for me before. But you modeled this to be like grass or something, and you wanted that to be your hair particle. You could do that through this menu. So more settings. This is where you set for your computer where your DAZ libraries are, and that's going to be kind of computer specific, but also OS specific. So for Mac, it will change drastically, and so I think I had a lot more issues setting this up for Mac because it wasn't there by default what the paths were. General. Some of the hidden features is actually interesting because it gives you a now option to import a poser file. I haven't messed with poser in a while, so I haven't tested this out and see what the differences are there and how well that works and what versions of poser files you can use and so forth. I'm guessing this is the verbosity of the warning messages. Yep, unloading files, so you can ramp it up if you're having issues importing and can't figure out why. Where's up, and assuming Z's up by default, that's where you want it, or you can make it oriented according to DAZ Studio, and so on. Rigging. Here we go, this rigging. So we got rigging in a couple places. Under advanced setup, but further down in settings, you have another rigging where you have connect bones, make sure they're connected, rotation locks, they can't go beyond certain limits, location locks, and so forth. Uncheck that. And materials. A lot of this has to do more with Blender internal, especially this bottom part. So you really don't need to mess with that in cycles. And some of these as well, you can take these out of the mix. I think even for cycles, you can take some of these out if they are part of that material. Utilities, more behind under the hood type things. I don't know why it says Genesis 2 female for my character. It was Genesis 2 male. It's interesting. Maybe whoever made the skin or that character, Corey, used the Genesis 2 female or didn't change the name when they uploaded it or something. Posing. You can import poses from DAZ. As you see here in the context window from DUF files. You can also save your poses, custom-made poses in DAZ Studio and import them from there. Let's see if I can do that right quick. I'm not sure I can do that with Rigify after I Rigified it. So I have a pose here that I saved in my DAZ library. And actually that worked. It was called talking, but it was just kind of a person just standing there with their arms down to their sides, and I was able to import that pose that I made in DAZ Studio and import it here. You can simply import a whole library of poses, and the action would be a series of poses. Face units, I think we've gotten back to the end now. So face units is what we uploaded earlier from the Morphs menu. So I guess that's it. That is the gist of what the DAZ importer can do for you. There's some more advanced things I didn't get into, but a lot of possibilities here. And if you watched my earlier video on using the FBX method, where you had to get the materials right, especially with anything with the alpha for the eyes and the hair. When you import it using the importer, it does all that for you, so the materials are correct upon import. You have to do that tedious changing every material that has alpha to correct it. It is done for you, and here we have a pretty decent looking figure already done in DAZ Studio and Blender, or DAZ Studio character done in Blender 3D. Stuttering aside, thanks for watching, and if you liked it, give a like down below, comment. I'd like to hear from you what you like, what you didn't like, and subscribe, and also tell your Blender friends about this. Peace and blessings.